Hello, Worcester. All right, those of you who are leaving, you're going to be sorry. So Peter said I had to be done by 44 past the hour. He didn't say what hour, so we'll get you out of here as quickly as we can. This isn't Peter's first rodeo, though. He did put behind me the only other speaker big enough to get me off the stage, so he's covered. Who listens to EWTN radio? Wow, look at that. Everybody who's raising your hand, look at people around you that aren't raising their hand. There you go. Get to work. All right. You know, one of my great privileges as the general manager of EWTN Radio is I get to go around to our 380 affiliates in the United States that carry our radio programming and help them out with some development, help them raise some money to keep their stations on the air. And one question that I get everywhere I go when I speak at these events on behalf of these affiliates is they say to me, Jack, how in the world does someone as shockingly good-looking as you wind up on radio? You didn't have to laugh that hard. Golly. Kind of hurt my feelings. You know, to be honest, I don't know that I felt like I had a whole lot of choice in the matter because I was born in 1962. And as we all know, that was the year that Mother Angelica came to Alabama. And in 1978, on my 16th birthday, October 16th, 1978, Pope John Paul II was installed as our Holy Father. In 1981, I graduated from high school and Mother Angelica started the television network. Now, in 1992, when she started the shortwave network, I didn't have a whole lot happen then, but 3 out of 4 is not bad, right? So I felt like I had kind of been steered to where I needed to go anyway. You know, as the story goes, and many of you have heard it, when Mother Angelica started the shortwave network, she was really contemplating pulling back from her activities at the network and really catering more to her sisters and her order. And she went before the Blessed Sacrament and presented this to our Lord, and he told her, no, not only are you not to pull back from the network, but I want you to start a shortwave radio network. And she said, Lord, I don't know anything about shortwave radio. And she says his response was, I know, get started. So being the obedient daughter that she is, she got started. She thought that this would happen in Rome, where a mixing of all the languages of the world came together, and that's where she envisioned that this would happen. She had a hard time working through the Roman and European bureaucracies, and one thing led to another, and the next thing you know, she's looking for real estate in Alabama. And she has her chief engineer at the time, Mr. Matt Scalisi, and herself and a real estate agent tooling around Alabama, and they come up on this little mountaintop about 40 minutes from Birmingham in Vandiver, Alabama. And as they're pulling up, Matt says, you know, Mother, there's really no reason to even look at this because this isn't an appropriate place for you to set this thing up. And Mother said that she saw St. Michael standing on top of the mountain. So she got out of the car, and she looked at the real estate agent, and she said, we'll take it. And Matt said, Mother, you're not listening to me. This is a mountain. We can't do this on this mountain. It's full of iron ore. It'll interfere with the signal. We can't do this. And Mother asked Matt, do you see St. Michael on that mountain? And Matt said, no, Mother, I don't. And she said, we'll take it. And they took it. And for reasons, as it turns out, not only does it work, but it is the ideal location for that shortwave signal to reach all across the world. You know, you've also probably heard the story that within 2 weeks of starting that shortwave network, she got her first letter about radio, and it came from Japan. And the person was thanking her for her channel of Buddhist prayer. And she said, Buddhist prayer? So she had the sisters do a little research, and the sister came back and said, Mother, they were listening to the rosary. They think the rosary is Buddhist prayer. And Mother said, yeah, let them think that. So in 1996, it was really the seminal moment of Catholic radio in America. I think the show happened in 1995 when Mother went on her live show, and she announced that if anyone had an AM or FM radio station, or if they could procure one, she would provide programming to them free of charge. And first one, then two, by the end of 1996, 6 people had taken her up on that offer. And those 6 people in 1996 have grown to over 380 stations in the United States carrying EWTN radio programming, and over 500 English and Spanish stations around the world that are now carrying EWTN radio programming. We have 8 full-time playouts now, 24-hour-a-day, 7-day a week radio programming for English shortwave, Spanish shortwave, English AM/FM, Spanish AM/FM, EWTN Radio Classics, which is our teaching channel with the Mass, devotionals, Mother Angelica, prayers, your famous conference talks, Mother Angelica. Did I mention Mother Angelica? She's on Classics a lot. We have a separate feed for Sirius XM channel 130. We send a feed to the Philippines, to our brothers and sisters in the Philippines. Most of them speak English, almost all of them do, and the programming is in English, but all of the messaging in between the programming is in their native language and addresses issues that are pertinent to the Philippines. We do the same thing for the United Kingdom. We feed them a signal with short-form messaging that addresses the concerns from the church's perspective of the things they're facing in their particular region. We're on almost every platform you can imagine for streaming. Shortwave, AM/FM, EWTN.com, the EWTN app. If you don't have the EWTN app on your phone, don't leave this room without downloading it. The price is right, it is free. We're on Apple TV, the newest version of that, Roku, Amazon Fire, Amazon Echo, Facebook Live and YouTube. You can watch me now on the radio. It's a beautiful thing. You know, and I'll leave you with one little tale. When Mother, just before she launched the shortwave network, she pulled the employees together, which you couldn't do today. There's too many of us. But back then, she was able to pull the employees together, and she shared with them what her motivation was for starting the shortwave network. And she talked about Ephesians chapter 6, and we're all familiar with Ephesians chapter 6. It talks about, St. Paul's telling us about putting on the armor of God. But that's not what Mother focused on. She focused on the end of Ephesians chapter 6, and she talked about the battle taking place in the heavenlies between God and his angels and the evil one and his angels. And she thought that if not even one person ever heard this radio signal, that if she sent the word into that battle that was taking place in the heavenlies, she knew that that word would not return void, but it would accomplish that for which it was sent. And as we've come to know, some 25 years later, not only did one person hear it, but a whole mess of folks heard it, as we say in Alabama. And it's all a testimony to her obedience and her vision and her humility before the Creator of the universe. If you don't have Catholic radio in your area, go to EWTN.com, click on the radio tab, send me an email, give me a call. We'll work with you. We have resources. We want to get everybody in America in a position where they can get in their car, turn on EWTN radio, and listen to Mother Angelica. Thank you very much.